All right, everybody. Good morning, good evening, hello. Welcome to wherever you're calling in from to Community Cohort number 5, the info session. My name is Jess Walker, and alongside the wonderful Pisarski, we are your hosts for today's session. And I will also be the Community Cohort lead for Cohort 5. So if you do end up joining, we'll be spending a lot of time together come September. But before we get stuck in, I'd like to first acknowledge the lands on which we're all individually meeting today. I'm personally meeting from Taipei in Taiwan. 5:30 wake up. Luke was saying how painful an 8 o'clock wake up was. I let him have that pain. But I'm tuning in from Taipei in Taiwan, and I did a little bit of research on the Indigenous peoples in Taiwan, and there were originally 16 Indigenous tribes here, collectively known as the Formosans. But I know a lot of you are calling in from Australia. I know Paz is calling in from Wurundjeri land. A lot of people are calling in from Gadigal land. So I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which you're calling from and pay my respects to elders past and present. And actually on that, please let us know in the chat where you are calling from. We'd love to know. And thank goodness that we are all in Butter. If you haven't seen this wonderful platform called Butter, God forbid it's not Microsoft Teams. We don't use Zoom. We don't use Google Meet. We use this beautiful UX design, beautifully created platform called Butter. And it's actually a community members platform that she was the head of community for a couple of cohorts ago. So if it's your first time, you can find in the top up here, if you look in the top middle, you can ask a question. So you can ask a question, you can post a comment, and you can raise your hand. Perfect. Paz just a beautiful example of asking a question. And then if you go in the left-hand side, you can see a reacts button. So everyone pop in their favorite reacts. I'm going to do a love heart. Smiley face. Beautiful. Love that. Amazing. And then Paz and I have the wonderful joy of sound effects in the background. So we can do crickets. We can do air horns. We can do... Sorry that you can't do that. You could get Butter and then you could totally do it as a facilitator. All right. So today, what is going to happen? The purpose of today is to understand what's involved in the next cohort. We're going to look at what the past cohorts thought about it. We have a wonderful lineup of panelists. We'll have tips for the application process. We'll look at scholarships and timelines and commitments, and you'll also hear from Brody, Danny, Paz, and Luke very shortly. Someone's just on. Hey, Danny. Do you mind just popping yourself on mute? Thank you so much. And personally for me, I have been involved in the Community Collective for one cohort as a host in C4, and I've been involved in programs and communities for a decade before that, and this is North Star. Like, this is the program in the community that you want to be a part of if you want to learn how to run communities. I have learned personally so much from Paz and the Community Collective over the last 6 months, because it is probably the best in the world. So I highly recommend it. I am biased now, I suppose. But it's such a wonderful program. So we are going to do our check-in. We're going to hear from the wonderful Paz. We're going to do a fireside chat. We're going to do next steps, and Paz has a gift for us. Paz always has gifts for us. She's so lovely. And then we're going to close and celebrate. But first, let's do a group photo. So Luke, one of our alumni, is going to give us the hand gesture for the group photo. What you got, Luke?
Let's go with this one. Over the eye. You know, when you get a 3-pointer in basketball, you can do this one.
I totally didn't know you do that in basketball. I'm not that cool. All right. Everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. Stunning. You will look beautiful. All right. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is a check-in. So we do a check-in at the start of every session. And one of our values of the CC is connection before content. And we bring this to life through our ritual of doing a check-in. And so the purpose of today's check-in is to get a read on the room and give everyone a voice. So the question is, what are you hoping to achieve if you join Community C5? So all you need to do is write your answer in here, submit, and we will be able to see the results. This is the elevator music. Revive our online Slack community. Yes, Luke, I think that was you that wrote that. Amazing. I mean, the Slack community is the bane of so many community managers' lives. Develop a fun and engaging community strategy for my startup. Ooh, a startup idea. That's fun. There's a group of, there's a big cohort of startups in our community collective. Create a kick-ass community to help women thrive. Yes, yes, please. In the last cohort, we had maybe 5 female-focused communities, and so they all kind of got together and spoke a lot. Restart what was good. What was a good community with a different focus? Oh, I like that. Pivoting, as we say in the startup world. I'm hoping to make it more community friends. Oh, I love that. If you join the community, you'll like literally just get 75 new friends immediately. I think Danny, Brody, and Luke can attest to that, and Maggie can attest to that. To learn more about how to build community, lots of ideas and theories, missing the tool belt, amazing. I think that's one of the biggest reasons people join, is because they have this community, it's going really well, but how do they structure it? How do they put metrics and benchmarks around it? How do you get a return on investment? So that is incredible. Grow my knowledge and make new connections. Elliot, one of the cool things as well in the program, and I'm so jumping ahead, but I'm getting excited, is by the end of the program, you actually have a strategy that you can go away with and use in your new community as well. And it's peer reviewed by alumni. Amazing. Take our existing and support and beautiful frameworks, blueprints to collective community growth. Love that. Steve, are you happy to jump off mute and tell us a little bit about the community that you're part of?
Howdy. Yeah, I'm from Melbourne. Hoping I'm off mute. This is a new platform.
Yeah, you're doing great.
We run events across the globe, from Antarctica to Africa, for both B2B, so clients, and we also have our own communities. And yeah, got one next week in Byron for 60 leaders from across Australia. So yeah, super excited about learning more about what you guys are up to and how we can bring it through into our communities.
That is huge. I love the Antarctica to Africa piece. Just cover the whole globe.
Bit of fun. It was a bit cold down there in March, but that was cool. We had 153 leaders from across 20 countries. So it was pretty awesome.
Amazing. What was the community called?
Stewardship. So yeah, we created a stewardship manifesto down there. So it was awesome. Happy to share later on.
Very cool. Thank you for jumping off mute, Steve. Amazing. Wow. My biggest takeaway from that is there are so many different areas that people are trying to learn, but I think the beauty of the Community Collective is you learn from the program, the workshops, the world-class speakers, Seth Godin, and then you also learn from the rest of your community members as well. But with that, I'm going to hand over to our wonderful Paz, the co-founder of the Community Collective, to tell us a little bit more.
Thank you so much for that beautiful intro. Let's all give it up for Jess. Add some emojis, some love in the chat. Oh, fabulous, fabulous. Hello, everyone. It is so lovely to be here live with all of you. If I haven't had the pleasure of connecting with you, my name is Pisarski, and I'm one of the co-founders of the Community Collective. And we've been running this program 4 times now for over 2 years with over 160 alumni across 18 countries. And I am just blown away by the caliber of people, by who is signing up. We just had an application from one of Google's community managers. We've trained some of the community managers from Canva to female founders to people across all the way over to Africa. And it's just really warms my heart to always be here to share what the hell we've been doing. So obviously this is an info session. You kind of get a bit of a vibe of read the room of how we operate here. We believe in connection before content always. It's so lovely to see all of you connecting in the LinkedIn pop-up group and sharing what you really want to hope to get out of this as well. And so what I would really love to take you through over the next kind of 15 minutes or so is really give you the read of the room, the nuts and bolts of what the hell is this community cohort program and why does it exist? So let's dive straight in, because I really want to unpack this kind of key question around why does our community cohort exist and why would it even be worth your time? You know, why is this something that might be beneficial for you or for someone that you know, or perhaps for someone in your team? And because really here at the Community Collective, I want to give you a bit of context about what we stand for. And really we have a very powerful vision, which is really to lead a global movement that establishes community building as the most impactful business strategy. You know, if you've ever been a community builder or you don't even know what a community builder is and you tell someone what you do and you just get looks of confusion, we want to change that. You know, in 10 years' time, we want a community manager role to be as well understood as saying to someone, oh, I'm a lawyer or I'm a dentist. Like, you have a very clear understanding. There's a shared knowledge around the purpose and the value of that role within an organization. And that's exactly what we want to do for community building, because in the age of information overload and just so many groups and notifications popping up left, right, and center, being able to build consistent and quality relationships at scale for a company is what's going to cut through the noise. Because if there's one thing that we've realized, it's community is the new currency. This is what drives us here at the Community Collective. You know, this is what drives us, seeing companies like Canva launch in Australia and build incredible communities for teachers all around the world about learning how to design. You know, companies like Culture Amp have the People Geek community with hundreds of thousands of members all across multiple countries, connecting HR managers to understand how to build great team culture. Or perhaps even Broadsheet, add a reaction if you've ever heard of Broadsheet before. It's a media publication in Australia in the hospitality and music industry, and they have launched a new community called Broadsheet Access. It's a membership to connect people.
Welcome back, everyone. What are we all doing for ourselves? Paz has got it down packed. She knows exactly how to look after herself. She's booked herself in for a full body massage and then a light tea martini. So I think I'm just going to straight up copy that.
Got to have balance.
Light martini well, having a massage? No,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm going to randomly pick one person. I think I'm going to pick Ash. What are you going to do to look after yourself or celebrate yourself?
Well, I'm flying down to Sydney to go to the Sydney celebration dinner. So,
Yeah. That's so cool.
Well, like, it lined up well. So I'm currently sitting in the airport.
Amazing. That is stunning. I love that for you. We are running out of time, so I hope you all celebrate yourselves. It's been so nice to see you. And I'll pass back to Bez.
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Jess, for that fabulous check in. Ash, I can't believe you're flying to Sydney right now for the dinner. That just warms my heart so much. There was a thread going on in Slack for the Brizzy CCNs. They were like, "Oh, I can't go to the dinner." And we just, Kate and I were chatting. We were like, maybe we can organize the Brizzy CCNs together. So who knows what will come from that. But that is beautiful. Yes, I do. After every single program, I book myself a massage at Indota Spa. So I've got that booked on Sunday at 12 o'clock. And then I am about to go traveling for 2 months. I'm about to do a road trip in Queensland with my partner. We're going to go to Stradbroke Island, and then I fly to Europe all of July. So I am off next Friday, and I'm very, very excited. But it is not over, and we have a lot to get through, CCNs, because we do not have a break in this session. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at our goals reflection. So something that a lot of people are really good at is setting goals. Some things that people are also really good at is never looking at those goals again. That is not us. We are different. Apparently, only 8% of people actually achieve their first, New Year's resolution goals. And we are definitely going to be in that 8% of people that actually set and reflect and refine our goals, because when you actually dedicate time to thinking about what you want to achieve, you then have to dedicate time in certain time blocks to actually look back at them. So how this is going to work, we want to make sure that first of all, you understand what a retrospective is. So the goals reflection is our part 1. So I'd love to hear, has anyone, please jump into the reactions, add a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you've ever experienced a retrospective. So everyone, if you've ever just been to a retrospective workshop, add a thumbs up or add a thumbs down if you have. Okay, cool. We got a lot of people, who've attended, not some who have not. And then now, second question is, have you ever run your own retrospective and facilitated that for your team, your partner, your marriage, your community? Add a thumbs up. If you've ran a retrospective, add a thumbs down if you've never hosted or facilitated a retrospective. Okay, cool. All right. We got some varying responsibilities, which is cool. And now I'd love to hear everyone in the chat. What is a retrospective? What is a retrospective workshop? What are the first couple words that come to mind? Just first word comes to mind about what a retrospective is. Why would we bother doing something like this? Reg says reflection, continuous improvement from Maddie. Love that. Accidentally ran one at the end of the last product management one-on-one fellowship. Love to hear how you accidentally ran whoops, just slipped out. My bad. 1 hour workshop. Love that, Tila. Learnings, analysis, improvement, continuous improvement. Yeah, 100%. You're bang on. And really the definition of a retrospective is an opportunity to learn and improve. It is time set aside outside of day-to-day routine to reflect on the past in order to improve the future. Because in the great words of John Dewey, we do not learn from experience. We learn from reflecting on experience. And that is really key, because a lot of people think, yeah, I learn by doing. And if I do it, I learn, which is true. And I am that kind of learner as well. But once you actually sit down and look at what worked well and what didn't work so well, that is the time when you can improve by that 10% better each time. So how this is going to work, we are going to reflect on your goals. So we're going to post a link in the chat, which is the cohort directory. And in there, you will find your goals. Now, we have gone back and updated your goals in your cohort directory from what you set in that Slack post that we did, because we made your goals CC and savvy. We posted them in Slack in week 2. And then we've now gone in there and said new and updated your goals. So if you have 2 sets of goals, the ones at the very top are the ones that you updated that we have just put in there for you. So now you're going to do a retrospective on the goals, and we have 4 questions, and we're going to basically give you these questions in the chat, and then you'll copy and paste the answers, write them out and post them in the chat when you're done. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to traffic light your goals. You'll have 3 goals, and they'll either be green, orange, or red. So this is a really quick fire analysis to understand, are they on track, somewhat on track, or just like, oh my God, I forgot I did that. They're just wildly off track. And so then you're going to think about what helped you and hindered you in progressing towards your goal. So if something is green, what helped you get there? If something is orange or red, what hindered you from getting it to green at the 8-week mark? We're then going to think about what would you have done differently. So then look at the things that hindered. Perhaps life came up. Perhaps you actually just never looked back at your goals. So what would you have done differently? Maybe I would have written them down and had a weekly check-in with myself. And then what is one action you can take to progress your goals forward? So we're going to copy and paste this exact activity in. Boom, there it is, Jess, right on time. Mate, she's fire. And then basically what you're going to do, you can just copy and paste that whole section, post it in the chat, and then just write your answers in the chat there. We'll put some music on. We're going to have 5 minutes for this, and then we're going to hear from at least 3 people who would like to share live. So once you have finished, if you then have something that you want to say, then of course just click the I have a comment, and we'll come to you after that as well, because we'd love to see 3 people in the queue, and we're not going to move to the next section until we do. So let's put some tunes on. We'll have a timer, and then once you have basically, again, copied and pasted this element in the chat, get your goals from the cohort directory, post your answers in the chat, all in one, and then we will share and listen to 3 people. If you have any clarifying questions about what to do, just ask me and Jess in the chat. Alrighty. Alrighty, just pause the avatar piano cover there that was happening from Avatar the movie. We've got some beautiful reflections here in the chat. And if you're still going, no stress, just finish your train of thought. And now we would love to hear from a couple people. So if you feel like sharing on something that has helped you, jump in the queue and click I have a comment. But there's something here. I mean, Danny, I'm reading these elements and you've got a lot of green, which is really, really cool. Would you feel comfortable sharing on what helped you achieve some of these goals to be on track?
Sure. I guess for me, where I think I told my story at the beginning, is that I was selected to join Cohort 1, but realised that my work-life balance was just not going to allow for that. So that was a really important choice. So in coming back this time around, it was, I'm here to show up. I need to block this time and do this properly. I'm kind of a, do or don't do kind of Mr. Miyagi type person. But it was also really easy to show up because everything that we heard and the amazing group, Luke, I'm still laughing about, we broke Ben last week. I've been giggling about that for ages. It's that it makes it easy to show up when if I'm getting paid to do this. So this is a really easy thing for me to show up and do well with because I've just loved it. And doing it with this wonderful group of people has also been really awesome too. And being able to support them. So, yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful, Danny. Yeah, thank you so much for being paid to do this. I can relate. This is the best job in the world. It's a really special thing when you find a good group of people and you're collectively learning together. I was chatting with someone last week and they just said, you know what, without a program, I wouldn't have actually been motivated to do any of these changes, which I think is also a really interesting one. So thank you so much for sharing, Danny. I'm so glad you've joined. Maybe see you back in Cohort 5. Who knows?
Who knows?
Love that. I mean, Luke, you've got some really cool goals here. I love the action that you're going to take forward. Would you feel happy kind of sharing this action that you're going to take forward and how you went with your goals?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's funny that the thing that I think I could have done better is also definitely the thing that I will be able to use to really enact my strategy going forward, and that's having just a blocked out time. I kind of work in a very structured way. Like I have to have my days are themed. Otherwise I don't know where to put different tasks. So I think having a clear community day, whether that's a Wednesday, Thursday, whatever, in my schedule to really have the whole afternoon blocked out to work on stuff for the future. Because I always find that I can be working on community things that are, someone needs this, at the moment, quick fixes and things like that. But to be constantly working on what's going to improve the community as a whole going forward and having that dedicated time. And also, I think now my team and my boss understands the importance of that time, which is a really big win. So I think that's going to really benefit everyone going forward.
Yeah, that time block, the conscious calendar blocking, it really, really does wonders. Even if you ignore it, you still have the awareness that it's there, which can be even more frustrating. I do that a lot. I'm like, I should probably write my advisor update. I'm going to do it next week, which can happen, but it's on the list, So I love that striving for dedication because we can always do something more. So thank you for sharing, Luke. Oh, love that. Tila, I've got to ask, second time coming back to the cohort, you've got orange, green, which is cool, but I'd love if you'd be happy to share some of the things that have helped you because you've got some really interesting ones here.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, getting the strategy done this time, cohort 3 timing wasn't great, starting a new role. I'd had a couple of weeks in a new role before I started this one, so it was slightly better. But I think the stuff that helped was having set up accountability with my cohort crew, which was excellent. So thanks heaps to Leah and Venetia. And also just little things like actually using the resources, actually looking at other people's strategies. And also when you chucked up those like chat GPT prompts, I was like, yep, this can get me over the line. So that really helped with that. And then for me, for Fireside, in terms of like getting it off the ground and getting these groups running, like I'm quite close with my founder communities, and kicking off. I'm not up to 2 to 3 catch-ups with my remote working crew, but I'm actually kicking off the first get together with them today. So that's really exciting. Straight after this call, running down to do our first like get together. So I'm very excited about that.
Love that.
And then, in terms of hindering, like obviously like life gets in the way. So there's been like a lot of stuff that's happened in the last 8 weeks. But for me, I think the things that I've identified is that I work better when I'm outside of my home environment. So what I would do differently is get out of the house more, and also, actually use my calendar. So that time blocking, like you say, creating that awareness. And for me, this time has been like so much more valuable because I've been able to show up fully and be at so many of the sessions. And in terms of attendance and actually rewatching stuff, like I'm fully up to date. So I'm really stoked with where I've finished.
I love that. And, I remember even after the Cohort Connect, we just stayed on and had a dance party, you and I.
That was
the whole time. We were just like, I was like, I actually just needed a dance with Tila. Like, and I was like 20 minutes late for my meeting that I totally forgot about. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Joined, I was like, internet issues. So sorry. Wi-Fi dropped out. I was like fully having a dance with Tila instead. So it's been beautiful having you back. And hey, Tila, I mean, you're a resident CCN now, so you can come back Cohort 5, Cohort 6. Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I know we had a comment from Leah. I saw your hand went up. Did you have something that you wanted to share with everyone, Leah?
No, I was just trying to cheer for Tila, and I got too excited. Apologies, everyone. My enthusiasm got the best of me.
No stress. Love that. Try to add a reaction in butter, goes up on stage. Oh no. It's terrifying. I know. Okay. Well, thank you, Leah. I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything. Oh, all right. There's so many great reflections in there. And, I would encourage you now to write that, like copy and paste your answers and put them in something that you can keep. All of the chat is uploaded to the Cohort portal if you do, for some reason, lose it and you need it in the recording. But seriously, copy those down, write down those actions, put them in your calendar, and actually just make it a bit more practical. Because now this is entering our part 2 of a retrospective. So I'd love everyone just to roll your shoulders back because we sit down a lot, or maybe you've got a standing desk because that's really cool. Maybe you're in a bathroom in Sri Lanka, who knows? But seriously, now a really key thing to do in a retrospective that a lot of people miss, which is totally fine, is actually to help people remember what happened. So part 1, goals, tick, done. Part 2 is now the program and your overall experience in the 8 weeks. So we are really digging down into what you have liked, what you have learned, what has lagged, and what you longed for. So this is a 4L framework that we will unpack, but I'm just giving you a bit of foreshadow at the moment because what we're going to do now is take a walk down memory lane. And if you're an alumni, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and we love the walks down memory lane. But this is an activity that helps you remember what happened. And as I take you through a walk down memory lane, I'm going to take you through the experience that we have just gone through over the last 8 weeks to spark your memory. And as we do this, I'd like you to write down, just take notes, like digital notes, like tattoo yourself, make it permanent, whatever, and just write down, what did you like? What have you learned? What challenges did you overcome and what was missing? These are the kind of prompts that we'll go through after this because, someone might have asked you, it gets to Monday and they're like, how's your weekend? You're like, I don't even know what I did. What did I think it was good? Obviously, it's not bad if I don't remember, but, so this is really a prompt for you to remember what happened as you think about what you liked, you learned, longed for, and lagged. All right, grab the popcorn, everybody. Woo, let's go. So Cohort started with a website page. You would have landed on this website page that promised an 8-week cohort where community builders, operators, and founders level up to build impactful communities. Very simple. And apparently one thought popped into your mind that said, hey, this might be for me. And that thought actually popped in the mind of 71 people across 10 countries. And you all got accepted. We had a call either with myself, we did a video interview, whatever that might have been. And there was a lot of activity going out with cohort badges, posts on LinkedIn. You might have gotten a message from our ambassadors. You might have been personally welcome to them. If on LinkedIn, we actually go out and speak to our ambassadors. If we give them the cohort directory and we ask them to reach out to a lot of you. So we activate our members to then welcome you as well. They do it just from the goodness of their own hearts. There was even meetups before the program even started. Like, this was just crazy. We were like, okay, wow, we're in for a really big week here. And we kicked off with week 1, which was all about connection and goals. We had our first ever group photo, and Sean Greeley shared an incredible quote that would later become a screensaver on multiple people's computers throughout the cohort. And we started out understanding the framework of the entire program, which are grounded in 4 key skills. So this is what we promised you at the start. We said we're going to give you a strategy so you know where you're going. We're going to give you operations so you know what to execute and the processes to put in place. We're then going to make sure that you are a great communicator, whether that's public speaking or facilitating, and ensure that you have a community around you of support. We announced our first ever common room sponsor, actually paving the way for our cohort scholarship fund. And you'll notice that there's a question in the post-cohort evaluation if you would like their team to reach out to you about their analytics and data platform. We then had our alumni hosts across 3 countries organizing dinners in Lagos, Nigeria, Sydney, Melbourne. We posted this Slack comment about your goals, and you all made them CC and savvy to make sure that you could actually achieve them. We then welcomed Jess Walker to the team as our cohort lead, who you met in week 1, who then introduced you all to your cohort crew. What a great decision that was. And there was about 20 cohort crews all matched together. We used ChatGPT to give us some answers. They were very good. So Jess and I divided and conquered and introduced you all in your cohort crews. There was coaching session that happened. Luca's eating popcorn in the chat with Michael. God, it's ridiculous. And we have lots of coaching sessions across with Tim, Yana, and Ben. Please add a reaction in the chat if you have had the pleasure of meeting any of these. We had our first ever cohort connect, and we broke the internet, and Sean sent through a photo as a selfie because no one got to do that except him in Slack. Wow, we haven't even made it to week 2. This was all about community strategy. You got access to our strategy template, and Ben, for the first time, ran 2 workshops that we created to understand where the magic happens between the business value and the member value. You were encouraged to set a North Star, which was the big step towards your vision and mission to undertake your values. Then CC started sending in screenshots of Sean's comment, which is pay it forward to yourself, which is now across screensavers across multiple countries. And Sean texted his mum celebrating that, which was beautiful. We also had week 3, which is metrics and ROI. And this is where our incredible speakers entered the showgrounds of the program. And we heard from Jenny Weigel as our first speaker, and then Tim Duggan about cult status. This is where I was abducted by aliens and got kicked out of our own butter room and could not join. So Liz took over the show. Thank you very much. And which led us to our public speaking week. And we did a lot of acknowledgements of country. We wanted to show and share how we could do these differently. And some of you even attended the bonus Acknowledge This workshop online. We had a lot of sessions with Margot and Annie and Vicky about public speaking, and Jess facilitated a facilitation workshop with a community of community builders. We then started hearing from Enos, our cohort co-working host, who ran 3 sessions of cohort co-working while some people were out at sunrise, and there was a bajillion meetups happening in person with CCNs flying around for dinners, coffees, and a lot of catch-ups. Whew, that brought us to week 5, and I'd like all of us to just take a breath. So please, if you will, take a deep breath in. Oh my God, take 1 deep breath out through the mouth. And just take 1 more deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Whoa, that was so much that happened. It was a crazy container. And that led us to week 5, which is why we give you a break and integration week. We nearly even broke Slack with the amount of gifts and celebrations happening when people submitted their strategy, and where 41 of you wrote strategies for 41 different businesses. And now Tim Duggan and I have signed off on the copies of Work Backwards that he has personally signed, every single one of them, that are now getting delivered to your door, which is beautiful. Not by Tim, but by a delivery man. And we had alumni editors share 1,085 comments of feedback on your strategy templates, which brought us to week 6, all about engagement and growth. We heard from Jess Adesana, we heard from Joel, and then we had a lot of awesome quotes from the most quotable man on earth himself, from Common Room, and a consultant. And we had a Melbourne photo shoot happen. CC's got new headshots, which is wild. And that brought us to the second last week. We're nearly there. This is the last element before we do our retro. And understanding then that operational elements, because we want to make sure that it was practical. And we heard some spicy advice from Tiff saying, wait, don't automate, because you have to think about it before you actually do it. The CC team welcomed a new operations lead. We had Jem join. You met her at the operations week, which is wild that coincided. You then got access to our new strategy roadmap template, and we nearly broke Ben with the amount of gifts happening in the chat. Throughout all of that time, there were incredible meetups happening from all of you. There were so many CC and shout outs. We downloaded every single group photo, and it looks really crazy here. And we've printed them out and posted them to each speaker with a handwritten card to say thank you. You had so many times in gather round connecting with many CCNs and alumni. And we even looked at the Slack analytics and looked at how many messages we've sent. And it is mind-blowing. But the one thing I want to point out here, that you should all look at your Slack analytics for a cohort, because this is why we build habits of a Monday update email. Your Slack analytics should look like these fun circles and not just like a flat line, because this is when we send the hello, welcome, you've got your community cohort email in the Monday inbox, which links to Slack, because we're building a habit of everyone here checking it every Monday, and you can see that played out exactly to our plan. So the cohort in metrics, overall, we had 71 people, 10 countries, 41 strategies submitted, 1.8K feedback comments left. We had 31,000 Slack messages sent in the last 30 days. So that's probably double in 2 months. There were 46 member meetups organized independently that we could count. 27 of you published blogs on our website about your experience interviewing other members. That is just wild. 29 check-ins hosted by members. We had 21 workshops, 20 cohort crews, 12 coaching sessions, 10 speakers, and 1 wild community. If there's like a mic drop, I would just totally do that right now, because this experience has been a lot. There's been a lot happening. And if you missed a lot of that, that's totally fine. However you showed up was how you were meant to show up. So do not beat yourself down for missing anything, because we are here twice a year, every year for the foreseeable future. And that brings us to now. Now, what is the power of now? The power of now is actually a visualization to get into the present moment, because something that we did in the kickoff is reflected on where you wanted to be. We showed this photo and we asked this question around, what does success look like? How do you want to feel at the end of the 8 weeks? And surprise, surprise, this is where we are now. And so I'd love all of you to just either find a soft gaze or perhaps close your eyes if that feels relevant. Just slowly roll your shoulders back. If you're walking, just continue walking. And I just would love for you to hold in your actual heart what you have learned, like something that has changed within you, a realization that you've had. I just would like you to hold that in your mind. Perhaps a speaker said something that made you think differently. Perhaps how we run a program taught you how to even refine your own comms or communication, just anything that you have learned. And to think about whether this is what success looked and felt like. Perhaps you have a dark feeling and you're like, oh, I just didn't work out how I wanted it to. And that's fine. Perhaps you feel like you gained more value than you actually planned, and that is also fine. And so now, as you open your eyes or just continue staring at the screen like you were before, I'd like to now guide you through our cohort reflection, which is the 4Ls retrospective model. This is a really great model. It's in Agile frameworks. I learned it from an Agile training course that we did at RMIT when I was working there, not like I studied it. And basically the 4Ls is understanding what did you like, learn, lagged, and longed for. So we're going to share a link in the chat, which has these elements for you. So you don't have to copy and paste them and do it all in the chat, just to make it really easy. And basically what you'll find is these 4 questions. So open the link that Jess has shared. If you're on your phone, you can just listen to my voice. And basically what it is we'd love for you to have a think about, what did you enjoy the most? Like, what did you just love? Like, were you laughing? Like, did you feel something? Did you have a coffee with someone? And what did you learn? What are you really taking away from this cohort? And what lags? Like, what didn't work so well? What is a challenge that you overcame? Like, what was something that you were like, far out, my business is so demanding and I need to do sales calls and it's really hard to show up in something I want to do. You know, that is a challenge that you have either had to overcome. And then what was missing from the cohort? You know, what was missing? Were you missing actually showing up in the way that you wanted to? Did you miss out on some of the catch-ups or the dinners, or you weren't able to get to the photo shoot and you felt really frustrated about that? You know, what was missing from the cohort experience that could have made it feel better for you? So we're going to have 5 minutes. Take the link in the chat, click it. There'll be the 4 questions. And then you just you type in the questions, and then you hit submit at the end. It's an anonymous element. It goes into the back end for us, but this is anonymous. And then you can take a screenshot of your answers before you submit it. And then we will hear from 2 people about what they learned in the cohort experience. All right. Love the submit, Sean. Alrighty. That song you're listening to is called The Pause, which I wrote and recorded in Geelong a couple of years ago, which is fun. All right, we've got a couple people who are still writing, which is cool. So feel free to continue finishing your reflections, hit submit on that. And we will now hear from a couple people. And Caitlin, I know that you've hit submit. I'm really curious. Would you be happy to share anything that you have learned?
Yeah, I think it just sounds so ridiculous, but I literally learned everything. Like I've been like running co-working spaces and like running communities for like I think since 2018, and I've kind of just like been figuring out what worked and what didn't work. And so finally like having a proper community to like apply all the stuff to, I was like, oh my God, it's actually like models and information out there that like maybe I could have found in 2018 when I started running my co-working space. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I think like I just like was like, oh my God, there's all these like best practice models that kind of exist out there, like in a more, I guess, like academic sense. There's a lot of kind of structure out there. So I think I learned a lot, and that was just kind of like the silliest revelation that I probably should have had before, but that was really nice.
I know, it blew my mind when I first discovered CMX and thought, oh my God, there's frameworks for community building. There are people who do this for a career. Like it blew my mind. I had no idea. And my boss at RMIT gave me the title of a community coordinator. I was like, that sounds lame. That's not me. And just, Matt Celia fully paved the way for my entire career because he knew what it was and I didn't. So I'm so glad we could help be that for you, Caitlin. That is a dream come true. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I feel like I'm going to cry. This is stunning to hear a lot of the reflections. I'd love, first of all, if you would like to share and just click I have a comment, we can totally come to you. But Brodie, I am really curious to hear if there's anything that you have learned, because I know we had a chat before this cohort, and I'm curious how you found it at the end of the 8 weeks.
Yes. I actually have. I've learnt quite a lot, actually. I suppose when I was coming into the cohort, I was feeling a little bit, I'd spent a few years out of working in social media. So I felt a little bit out of the loop in, tips and tricks to get people engaged, getting people, I hadn't started a group from scratch. I'd come from a company called Bulk Nutrients where we'd grown from being a $10 million company to a $30 million company. And part of that growth had been from developing and growing a community and having them going into that for us. And, going from being a for-profit business and changing industries and going into a not-for-profit, I was really nervous about, all those things I'd done there probably wouldn't work here. But when I put together my community strategy and I started applying the knowledge you guys were giving me, and I put it into the strategy, and then I started getting some really positive feedback. And then I got told that my strategy was actually being used by some of the cohort leaders as examples for other people in the cohort to refer to. I started getting my confidence back, and I started thinking, yeah, no, I've got this. This is great. So I think more than anything, this cohort has sort of given me my confidence back in knowing that, I can do all this stuff. And I think that's one really, really big thing. Just having the confidence in yourself is a really good thing, I suppose. So that's something that I'm really thankful for.
That is a great thing. And you can do this, Brodie. I back yourself, if this has been validation, phenomenal. The thing to walk away from is actually knowing, oh, wow, actually, I do know some of this stuff and I do put in the effort and the work, and that, herd mentality of being able to cross-check and benchmark, of just going, what do other people put in their strategy? Am I on the right track? Is so helpful. So I really appreciate that. And that was so cool. You doing the check-in for Tim Duggan's session, and you went to his communities in Sydney. That was like so meta.
That was great. Thanks for letting me do that. That
Yeah.
was a really fun thing to do.
Oh my God, of course. And now you get the book from Tim. How beautiful is that? Love that. Oh, well,
Yeah.
thank you for sharing. We've got 10 minutes left and 2 last things to go over. So we're going to now wrap the part 2 and we're going to go to the part 3. So this is part 3 of the retro, where you also aim to end a retro on a high note. So a lot of teams, of course, will dig into challenges, and I will encourage you to do that and go away and reflect on anything that lagged and really understand what didn't work. But for the purpose of today, we're going to end on a high note because it's all about celebration this week, and we want to hear what is one big or small win you are proud of achieving during the cohort. You could have gotten married. Maybe you launched a new event. Maybe you just did a workout when you haven't done that in a really long time. I just love to hear in the chat, post one big or small win you are proud of achieving. We got, Sean moved to Sydney. Love that. Love that, Sean. And we're going to chuck on 30 seconds of tunes as everyone shares their win in the chat. All right. Woohoo! We've got some killer wins in the chat. Oh my God, Ash. Oh my God, can you share how you went viral with the podcast? Would you feel comfortable doing that? Tell us.
Sure. I'm going viral being anything that sometimes you're following. And so we had a video that's been times on Instagram and 800,000 times on TikTok for a podcast episode sharing diagnosis. Proved to me that people have never been given a space to talk about. It kind of cemented for me like where we fit, like what our value is.
Hey Ash, I think we cut out some of the audio there. It just disconnected for a second, but I heard that it went out on TikTok and a lot of the podcasts really took off there. And I remember chatting to you in Sydney as well, that you started calculating a lot of leads that came through the podcast. But I won't make you share anymore because I think the AirPods just cut out. No stress at all. But it sounded like a really cool story, which we love, and we'll link the podcast. I was about to say in the show notes, but this is not a podcast. Link the podcast notes in the show notes of the podcast. Love that. I love this element of Maddie, cohort crew coordinating a meetup in person after completing 8 weeks Thai course at the same time as this course. Oh my God, Maddie, that is so cool. Maddie, would you feel happy to share more about this Muay Thai course? I love that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was so much fun. My friend suggested it. We'd been looking for something for a while, and it was actually it's the only all-female Muay Thai gym in Melbourne. So it's in Footscray. So there was a group of like 20 of us, and we'd go every Saturday and just learn like a new skill every week and then put it all together. And yeah, it was pretty much around the exact same time as this. So it's been so much fun.
Oh,
Like another little community, I guess.
Yes, that's so cool. At first I thought it was like a Thai cooking class, and then I was like, oh no, it's Muay Thai. And then you were like, of course. I was like a course? Oh, you were so funny. I love that. Thanks, Maddie. Hopefully I'll see you in Melbourne soon, actually.
Tonight,
yeah, I'll see you tonight. How good's that? Oh, all right. We're going to wrap it there. Thank you all so much. Let's add some reactions. A lot of love for everyone. There's a lot of incredible wins, which we love. I listened to a CC podcast. Yeah, I mean, Liz and I put together a pitch to create a podcast for the Community Collective. But hey, priorities when you run a business. But we're thinking about it. I'll send you a list of all podcasts that I listen to about community in the meantime, Caitlin. All right, everyone. Now we are closing. So you have experienced our 3-part retrospective of goals, program, and wins to end on a high note. And now we are going to wrap and close the session. So how do we do that? One, we want to share some key elements about what happens now. What happens now that the program is ending? This is the last workshop. Oh my God. Well, we've got the wrap-up party on Friday. So a lot of people, of course, can't make it to in-person celebration dinners. So we have an online wrap-up party for every single person in the cohort. So please join one of those, and we'll tell you some more details about the dinners in a moment. But the thing that we want to answer is, what now? You know, I've read some beautiful comments. There's a LinkedIn group chat going as well about these dinners, and a lot of people are really sad about the program ending, which is really beautiful. Podcast, me too. Please, Paz, one day, maybe. But what now? You know, what happens now that we've built this 8-week incredible program and this insane vibe in this community? You know, we don't want that to just end, because as, you know, Buzz Lightyear says to Woody, he goes, remember, Woody, it's going to be a 5th Toy Story. You know, you don't have to be that sad. The Toy Story ends. And you know what, crew? There's going to be a 5th cohort. There's going to be a 5th cohort. We're back every year, twice a year, to basically understand how we can, for sure, continue doing incredible learnings in the cohort. And so a lot of questions that we get, I want to walk you through a little bit about how we think about the community ongoing about the program, and then I'll wrap up with next steps. And we've got a new idea that Jess and I want to share with you as well about something in between the program. So a lot of you have heard some of this, but a lot of you haven't. And I just want to contextualize it and give it the light that it deserves, because a lot of you might ask, why would I join another program, Paz? You know, I've just done this one, which I totally get, and there's no pressure to join another cohort. But a question that we ask a lot of people is, have you ever attended a conference twice? You know, South Start, I've come back twice. I'm going to go to South by Southwest again. You know, add a reaction in the chat, add a reaction in Butter if you've ever been to a conference a second time, because they always have different people, different experiences, different speakers, you know, new motivation. It's a time-bound experience that you can go and get it done and then go back into your life, because we're not just building a program, we're really understanding how can we show up, because this isn't just an 8-week experience where we leave, lock all you out and say goodbye, but we're really a community that shows up twice a year. You know, we're not a membership. We don't have a monthly membership model, but really we're trying to build this idea of a programship where if you need the support, you can come back 8 weeks, twice a year and show up in that dedicated element, because we've found out that only 4% of our community of 160 alumni have have only graduated. So that's 5 people have only ever graduated and opted out, which is pretty wild. And 41% of alumni have rejoined a cohort for a second, third, or fourth time. And everyone in between has sat on that lifetime Slack offer, like pay as you feel, you're just here, just don't leave. You know, and some of the elements of why people come back is really understanding differences of they want to expand skills, stay connected, everything that you've just done and learned over the 8 weeks. You might come back with a different vibe, because it's like if you read a book for a second time, you always pick up something different. So a lot of you know the alumni renewal offerings. You now have the form to choose and pick and understand that decision. And you can choose between an alumni pass, residency, and a lifetime Slack or graduate. I'd love for you to pick in this poll now which one you're thinking about or which one you've already chosen. A lot of you have already submitted the cohort post-evaluation and actually shared the offering. And so when you go through that form, which we'll put in the chat as well, you can actually pick one of these 4 options. And then you will basically receive an email about how to continue on. And cohort 5 starts from September, or lifetime Slack is you pay once and you're in Slack for life. So you've got this PDF of all the things that, you know, each element includes. Residency, we've chucked in a free coaching session for that as well. And basically for residency, you will get an email before each cohort asking if you want to opt in. And then you say, yeah, I want the calendar invites, I want the portal. Nah, I don't need the cohort crew. Nah, I don't need the Monday update email, but like I want the private Slack channel. And so a lot of you have also asked about alumni roles, but you can express interest in the cohort evaluation form itself for a host, a mentor, editor. All alumni roles are actually currently full for the first time ever. So we're not opening applications for alumni roles. All alumni roles get a free residency package in exchange for being an alumni host, mentor, or editor. But once you do submit that cohort post-evaluation, you will be able to receive your graduation pack. So myself and Jem have made you these graduation packs. It's a digital gift. You get your certificate to be a certified community builder. Heaps of people like chat it on LinkedIn or add it as like certified things. It's like really big in Nigeria. So we always give a certificate. We've curated a photo album for you. We put in $100 voucher. So you can use that voucher on any residency package, alumni pass, as well, or you can give it to someone else who might need a bit of a discount, who hasn't gone through the program. And then in 48 hours, you'll get your skills test results from us, which is basically the 4 questions we asked you at the start and the end. So you'll see how you tracked. We've also spoken to Rich Millington, and he's thrown in a free ebook for the indispensable community in the graduation pack there. So that is all that is there. And so I know it's totally time, and I've got 2 more things that I want to share, which is a new idea and a new gift. So if you have to roll, no hard feelings, we've got the recording. If you want to stay on and hear the new idea and the gift from Jess and I, you can totally do that. So for, you know, in between the program, Jess and I were chatting about, you know, obviously there's a long time between programs and there might be, you know, some support that people would need. And you might not need a one-on-one coaching session, but Slack asking a question might not be enough either. So what is that sweet spot in the middle? Well, something we want to trial and test, which we've never done before, is this idea of collective coaching. So it's group coaching, it's fortnightly, Thursdays and Fridays, in between programs, where you can join with 6 other CCNs and either myself, Jess, or Ben Davies. Myself, Jess, and Ben are really happy to run collective coaching. And basically before collective coaching, you share the challenge that you have and the win that you want to celebrate. And we'll arrive for an hour online session and we'll do group coaching. So like no slides, no content, no topics, 6 people building communities who are founders, programs, running a membership, trying to build a VC portfolio company. And we want to understand how we can help each other. So I'm going to share a poll here to see if we should test this. Oh, so I love that residency is like number 1 and no one clicked graduate. That is crazy. So would you be interested in collective coaching? Like we are just basically going to test this idea. If we get enough interest, then we'll start putting it together and Jess and I will go away and have a look at what that looks like. What is involved? How much does it cost? How many people would go? Ben is already keen to help run it and Jess is in. So, okay, we've got 8 people interested, and as well in the cohort post evaluation, you can tick if you're interested in collective coaching and we'll reach out to you either on Slack or in email, just be like, this is what we're thinking. What do you reckon? So, okay, cool. All right. Collective coaching is a vibe. Cool. All right. We'll have a look at that and we'll get back to you on that. So to wrap, I've already told you got dinners, party, complete your post-cohort evaluation. We're going to play some tunes at the end of this. So if you want to take 5 minutes and stay to the end of the call to finish your cohort post-evaluation, you can just get that done now. But it's due this Friday, 31st of May at 12 p.m. So if you don't finish it, we're going to chase you. You're going to get email reminders until it's submitted, because we need the submissions to actually communicate to our board of directors, the NPS, and all of the skills test results to actually report on this program. And then you also get the gifts in return. And then the gifts that we want to share as well is we want to give you early access to a new report that we've just spent 4 months building. We went and interviewed 14 incredible community voices across 6 different countries about what is the future of the community industry. What do we need to know? What do we need to keep understanding and being aware of? And so we're just giving you all early access to that report. It goes live in like a week, but we just want to give it to you in case you want to read it. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I was going to read you a poem that I wrote, but we totally don't have time. So maybe I'll read it another time for you at the wrap-up party. And thank you very much. Thank you, Jess, for being our tech master at a ghastly hour in Sri Lanka. Thank you for everyone that shared. Thank you for everyone for being here. I always get so emotional at the end of programs because it's just really beautiful to do this work with all of you. So we're not going anywhere. We'll be here, and I hope to see you at the wrap-up party on Friday. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye, 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 bye.
Everyone.
Too, Maddie.
Just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere. Just a city boy, born and raised in South Detroit. He took the midnight train going anywhere. A singer in a smoky room, a smell of wine and cheap perfume. For a smile they can share the night. It goes on and on.